another edition of Training Ground Dispatch presented by Kaiser Permanente. I'm Madison Cruz. Joined with me is one of the voices of Atlanta United in Jason Longshore. We're here to get you ready as Atlanta United prepares to go on the road to face the Philadelphia Union this Saturday. It's already going to be an interesting matchup anytime you go up against a Philadelphia Union side.
That's one way to put it.
One way to put it, but it's one of those games where it's really going to test how you can manage a game where emotions can get really high and how you can manage the aggressiveness that we see from Philadelphia Union.
We could sit here for an hour and a half and talk about our feelings about the Philadelphia Union and how they play and their approach and what it creates. We're not going to do that today. I'm sure there'll be plenty of that on the call. It's usually one of the saltier radio calls of the season. Love you, Philly. It's going to be one of those games. But Bradley Carnell's a little bit different. I think you're seeing some not quite radical changes for Philadelphia, but the shape's going to be a little bit different. They're still figuring out how to play without Daniel Gazdag, who has just left the club going to Columbus. Indiana Vasilev replaced him, who is more of a chance creator, which is something they haven't had as much of out of the run of play. So it's going to be interesting. I think there are some unknowns in what we see out of Philadelphia outside of the physical, pressing, at times a little cynical style of play.
Well, you had the chance to see training. I was doing interview stuff, so you'll get to hear a little bit more about that on the SDH Network later. That's a tease for you. That's a tease for later. But what did you see from training and everyone that we talked to today?
Yeah, Thursdays are usually not as open to the media because you're working on some tactical things ahead of the game. We had a chance to talk to Miguel Almirón, which is always good. And I think, Sophia mentioned this as we were talking about Miggy's press conference. He seems even more comfortable being here, being a face of the team, doing media, all those kinds of things. And he gave some really good answers. I thought the two answers that stood out to me that Miguel said were one to Jose Prosopio of Latin Goles and one to Felipe Cárdenas of The Athletic. And I think they give you a little bit of insight. Miggy is very intelligent in how he handles media. He's not going to give you too much, but he gives you a little bit of a glimpse. And here's what he had to say.
¿Cómo te has ido sintiendo en esta vuelta a Atlanta? Y mi otra pregunta es, ¿cuáles son las indicaciones directas del director técnico hacia ti? ¿Te pide más presencia en el área? ¿Te pide que juegues por un lado más? ¿Cuáles son las indicaciones del
How he's feeling and what are the instructions to him from the coaching staff on the field?
No, yo me siento muy bien acá en Atlanta, me siento como en casa, creo que eso se hace más fácil para mí trabajar, pero nada, como dije anteriormente, también tengo que estoy hace 2 meses acá, 2 meses recién en el club, en tratar de acostumbrarme otra vez a lo que es el campo de juego, a lo que son mis compañeros, así que nada, yo creo que el partido anterior no logramos la victoria, pero rescatamos muchas cosas buenas, que New England llegó solamente el penal, nosotros tuvimos muchas chances para meter y creo que eso tenemos que mejorar también.
No, personally, I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be back in Atlanta. It's a place that I feel like I'm at home, so that makes coming to work easy. It makes everything easier. And yeah, as we've talked about, I think we still have some things to work on in the game against New England. I think we have a lot of positive things we can take away from that game. New England only had the penalty, so we know that there are things that we have to improve.
A la otra pregunta, el entrenador, nada, cuando juego de winger me pide que pise el área, que también esté compacto a la hora de marcar, y cuando juego número 10 me deja suelto dentro del campo para poder ayudar a los compañeros, ya sea a distribuir la pelota o en la marca.
And as for the instructions from the staff, I think when I'm playing as a winger, it's to try to get inside the box, to try to help the team. And then when I'm playing as a 10, it's more of a free role, to play free, to distribute the ball to my teammates.
Muy temprano para entrar en pánico, ¿no? O sea, llevan 8 partidos, pero hay un bajón histórico en términos de acumulación de puntos. Es muy temprano para pensar en la desesperación.
Sí, como dije anteriormente, yo no estuve en esos 6 años que cuando me fui, la verdad que seguía los partidos de Atlanta, pero tampoco mucho por el tema del horario. No sé qué pasó antes, solamente sé lo que nosotros, la responsabilidad que tenemos ahora, que es de de llevar al club a pelear cosas importantes, que al final eso es lo que yo quiero y eso es lo que quieren todos mis compañeros.
Yeah, well, I don't know what was going on the 6 years here that I was away, even though I tried my best to follow the team despite the scheduling and time differences. So I can't speak to those times, but all I know is what's going on right now. And we're all trying to get the best out of the team. We're going to keep working, and I think if we keep doing that, then we'll have good things ahead.
La liga también es muy cambiante. Creo que nosotros tenemos que llegar fuerte a los playoffs, que eso va a ser muy importante.
And the league is also very long and can change. So what we have to do is get to the playoffs and be strong.
Miguel Almirón, he is coming to his own, especially being back here with Atlanta United, being one of the faces of Atlanta United. What did you make of what he said?
I think the last thing that he said to Felipe is the most important thing. This is a long season, and the playoffs are the most important time. The first 8 games, yes, the games all count the same in the standings, but you want to be at your best at the end, and you have to build to that. So what's happening now, you want to be better, you want to get more wins, you want to get more points in the table, but it's not going to define what this team does at the end as much as you might think that it does. You have to build. And this is a team that is still building and getting to know one another. The chemistry's still building.
And we also had the chance to talk to head coach Ronny Deila as well. And we talked about it even before we came on to even start recording this, but I think it was one of the best press conferences, best media opportunities we've had in a while with Atlanta United.
It is, I think, in the time that I've been doing this and been in press conferences with coaches, I think it is the best one that I have heard in terms of laying out how he wants the team to play, how he sees the game, and very clear. I don't think it's over anybody's head. It's not using a whole bunch of buzzwords. It's not using a whole bunch of insider terms. I think it's very obvious what he wants from the team. I recommend go listen to the whole thing. We're going to give you some of our favorite elements of it next, but go listen to the whole thing on the Atlanta United YouTube page. It is worth your time to get that total insight in a very open way from the manager, Ronny Deila. But here's some of our favorites from what he had to say.
Ronny, are you getting what you want or what you need from your two center midfields, either Slits or Tristan when he plays, and also Mir and Chu have played there. So are you getting what you need?
Well, there's a couple of things we have to understand first. There's been 3 different coaches there now. They played in 3 different styles. First one was like a lot of play and playing from behind and all those things. And the next one was like more defending and counter-attacks. And now there's a new one coming in. My style is that I want to be as high as possible in the pitch as often as possible. I want to be quite direct, and I want to break lines as much as possible. So to go from being the lowest line to be the highest line, that is a long way, and that's what we are pushing. And then we want to play open and play attacking good football. So we want to actually think that the opponent is going to think, what are we going to do against this team? That's the hardest in football. To get a pattern offensively, and that we dare to attack so hard that we also can be hurt in the other way. So the demands of the midfielders now is totally different what it was before. So what I need from him and what I get is unbelievable work rate. They are winning balls all over the place, and that's fantastic. Attitude. What we need more from the midfielders that they know is scanning, open their body, timing with the central defenders, so we can break lines. And also, when we do that, we can break lines and play forward. So we get Alex more on the ball, get Miggy more on the ball, get Saba more on the ball. All these guys. So we do that. But we have been much better than that. The line now, we are middle in the league when we talk about how dominant we are in the games. But we should come another step. So far we have done that, and I believe to win something, you need to attack. You don't win anything to defend yourself. You can keep yourself not relegating to defend. You need to attack. And then you need to take some chances. Then I put, of course, a demands on these midfielders that they haven't been done. And it's a little bit scary. And there's been done some mistakes. But the only way going forward is to keep on doing it. So that they know. And I take the full responsibility for that. If they try, they never go back and say, why you did that pass, or that was a shit pass. But attitude, there's no mercy. Everybody can be disciplined. Everybody can work hard. Everybody can give to the team everything they have. And then we need to develop skills and that they have to understand how we want things. And I think they are very, very good in like understanding and trying now. And we're going to get better. We are already much better. And you see that when you see behind every result we had. But again, we come back to how we're going to get points. And that I think also is about that when you know what's expected, how we want to play, then they have to feel ownership to it. It's like our style of play. It's not Ronny Deila's style of play. It's Atlanta United's style of play. And then, of course, when everybody is pushing that line, then everything going to go quicker. And that will come. I'm 100% sure of that.
Ronny, at what point, you already mentioned it, your staff has been here 3 months, and you're only 8 games, you're going on 9 games in the season. At what point do you think this team should have that personality that you mentioned about playing this Atlanta United way, attacking, being high, and having to mold that from the players? At what point would you want to see that?
That's impossible to say. It's totally impossible. I hope I see it. I see a lot of improvement now. But again, we're always going to sit there and talk that things can be better. So what we agree now, that we want more points than we ever had. And that is a circle we have to turn and get on the right path. But I think you need to go through a window or two also to get it right. I think that's one thing. But I also believe that a lot of these players can develop themselves. And also it's a test for everybody now. Who is taking information, who wants to learn, who's able to learn. And those who are going forward, they are important to keep. And those who are standing still, they will be taken by the team. That's my experience through life and football. And that's me as a coach. If I don't learn and improve, and then I'm not good enough to be in the place I am. That's It's top athletes, top teams that we meet all over the world. Football is going forward. You need to be updated. You need to be able to receive and do something with the information you get. And those who do that best, those will be the ones that push Atlanta to where they should be.
Raw from Ronny Deila is how I would describe it. And I think what stood out to me is just talking about the grittiness and wanting to see the aggressive style. And I think it really also stood out to me, everybody talks about Ronny Deila's, the way he wants to play. What is his philosophy when he's out there coaching? And I liked what he said. He said he doesn't want it to be just his philosophy. He wants it to be Atlanta United's team, Atlanta United's philosophy and how Atlanta United plays and their style. He wants the players to embrace it, to come up with their own things, to be a part of it, and to not just let it be his, because that's not how this whole thing works. It's a team. Every single thing matters, from the coaching staff to the trainers to the players on the field. It all matters, and I think that was something that I took away from it that really stuck with me.
I think what hits me, and it'll probably be 5 different things tomorrow and Saturday as I soak it all in, but he talked about the line and how you dominate games. And it takes me back to Pep Guardiola when he went to Bayern. You have to remember Pep, when he walked into Bayern, they had just won the treble the year before. But he was brought there to instill a more dominant way of playing, also a more controlled way of playing, and giving them more of an identity. They won everything in 2013 before he got there, but they got better under him, even though they didn't win the Champions League. Yeah. And the way that you defined a lot of that was the line, how high the back line was, how high then the midfield is, where those lines are on the field. And he talked about how it is here in Atlanta, and they are much higher than they have been. Last year, and part of it is because of necessity, they were among the deepest lines. So they're playing deeper. That means when they win the ball, they have further to go to goal. That means they're getting more numbers behind the ball, and maybe that's how you had to defend with last year's unit. Ronny doesn't want to play that way. And if you look at his teams historically, they are very high up the field. That allows you to run less. That allows you to dominate the game, because if your back line is on the midway line, for example, then the other team has nobody in the attacking half. The other team is all pinned into their half, and you need to then convert and score goals. Right now, Atlanta's a work in progress. They are much higher than they were last year, but they're not as high as Ronny wants them to be and how high his teams typically have been. So that's something that he would not put a timeline on it, and I think that's the right thing to say, because you can't say how long it's going to take for a team to understand a way of playing and to get comfortable with new ways of playing. It is showing progress. If you look at the amount of chances the team's creating, you're creating more. If you look at the amount of chances you're conceding less. The chances. Ultimately, you're defined by the goals on both sides. But the chances are what give you more of an insight on how strong the team is playing, how strong they're understanding the ideas. I think they are getting that, but you have to convert. And then that goes back to what you were talking about. That's more mentality. That's more what Bartosz said on Tuesday about the team, not being too nice at times. And I loved how Ronny took it a step further about taking ownership of things. And there's going to be mistakes made in games. There's going to be things that go wrong. There's going to be calls that go against you, things that frustrate you. This team has to show more of a response to it. I think that's been the word I've used a lot this season, a response. I want to see a response to the last loss and even the last draw. I want to see a response to that in Philadelphia against a team that is absolutely going to try to provoke a response out of you. It's got to be the right one.
We'll see how well the team can respond, especially going on a very difficult road stretch here in the next 2 weeks, starting off with the Philadelphia Union. That's going to be Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Garrett Chapman and myself, we will have the pregame show starting at 6:30 p.m. on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. Then we'll toss it over to Philadelphia, where you and Mike Conti will be there to call the match. So, when in Philly, right?
Well, we're actually in Chester, but
Chester, but
we're down the road from Philly. We'll be in Philly on Friday. It's a difficult one. It always is. This is a really good team in Philadelphia that's trying to find their identity too. I'm fascinated by the tactics of this one. It's going to be a fun one to call.